the premier event for our industry is just around the corner. How to get the most from your experience at NBAA-BACE. From the National Business Aviation Association, this is Flight Plan. I'm Rob Finfrock with your trusted source for business aviation news and information. And here's Dan Hubbard, NBAA Senior Vice President of Communications.
We can't wait to see everyone in Orlando for what just might be the most exciting convention in NBA's 75-year history.
NBAA's annual Business Aviation Convention and Exhibition, or NBAA-BACE, is always a pretty big deal, bringing the national and international business aviation communities together to network with our peers, catch the very latest new aircraft and product introductions, and partake in an expansive selection of educational sessions and opportunities to learn about and discuss the issues affecting our global industry. And as Dan said, this year's edition of NBAA-BACE, which runs from October 18th through the 20th, will be one for the ages.
People are going to be blown away by the exhibits, the aircraft, the speakers, all of the special events we're going to have, and even some unexpected treats and surprises. Simply put, we're going to set a new standard in highlighting the inspiring people, bold ideas, new markets, and emerging technologies that are transforming business aviation. We're so excited to get the industry back together, not just to reconnect with old friends, as important as that is, but to make new ones, form new relationships and networks, and plan together for future opportunities. So we're going to be focusing on all of the industry's forward-looking priorities, including safety, sustainability, security, innovation, and workforce development, and we are looking forward to having everyone as part of that conversation with us in Orlando.
Now, NBAA-BACE is also a really big show, and it can be daunting to try to figure out what you want to see, which sessions to attend, what evening events to check out, and how to fit a year of pent-up anticipation and excitement into just a few days. Well, today, to help us sort out how to get the most out of NBAA-BACE, I'm pleased to welcome two of the people who truly make the magic happen every year. Chris Strong is NBAA Senior Vice President for Events, and Maureen Cameron is the Association's Senior Director for Exhibit Sales, Services, and Operations. Maureen, let's begin with you. What would you consider to be some of the really can't-miss events for this year's NBAA-BACE?
We are starting with the opening reception on Monday night. It will be a chance for attendees and exhibitors to get together, share a cocktail, pick up their badge, and make sure they're ready for the show that starts bright and early on Tuesday morning. Moving forward, Tuesday is the show open, so that's really exciting for everybody. We've got some really fantastic keynote addresses. The list of speakers for those two events are just out of this world. And we have an astrophysicist, so that's a real term, not just hyperbole. We also have the NBA Coffee Social Tuesday afternoon in the NBA booth. That will be from 2 to 3 o'clock in booth 1289 on the floor. We love to have our attendees and exhibitors stop by, visit with the NBA staff, meet the NBA board, and just really connect with each other. Also at the Coffee Social, we'll be having John and Martha King there. They'll be doing a book signing, and they're always such a big draw for the industry that I'm sure that's going to be really exciting. We have an emerging tech zone on the floor that's going to be unbelievably great, really fantastic and transformational aircraft on the floor. And in that area, we'll be having a reception Tuesday afternoon from 3 to 4 o'clock. And then there's going to be a YoPro reception on the floor in the innovation zone right adjacent to the NBA booth. They'll also be doing their Helpy Hour, which is a way for them to give back to the community in Orlando. That'll be Tuesday from 5:30 to 7. We will have an OPA, which is the Owner Pilots Association Coalition, on the floor, and that will be Tuesday from 4 to 5 o'clock. And then, of course, we also have a whole series of education sessions and different events on the floor, including some newsmaker breakfasts, the No Plane, No Gain media breakfast, and then the Corporate Angel Network reception will be Wednesday evening from 5:30 to 7:30, and that's a great way to give back to the community as well.
Chris, I have to say, I've been to a few bases, and I thought I knew what to expect. But the list of events Maureen just mentioned really brings home how big this year's gathering is going to be.
In listening to Maureen, I was sitting here overwhelmed. I've been planning this show now for the better part of a year. And as you listen through, you're like, holy cow, that is just a ton of activity going on. It's all over the place. That's how we've built it. We want this to be virtually a different experience for everybody. The show does take planning. We're obviously doing the planning for the show. You need to plan before you, as an attendee, you need to plan before you arrive. You should look at the website. You should download the app. As Maureen pointed out, we have upward of 60 different events or educational components to the show. Some of them overlap on purpose. Some of them stand alone. The keynotes, for instance, they're going to be the only thing that's going on during that period of time of the morning. But download the app. Take a look at what's interesting to you. You're going to want to walk around the show floor. We haven't even talked about the outdoor aircraft display is once again being hosted over at Orlando Executive Airport. We have more than 80 aircraft on display. All of the OEMs will be in attendance. They all have their beautiful chalets out there. That's a full day itself, honestly.
Coming up, more tips for what attendees should be doing now to prepare for NBAA's annual convention, and how to make the most of your base experience at the show. After this message from NBAA.
NBAA Flight Plan listeners, are you getting recognized for your leadership? NBAA now offers certificates and other credentials in safety, sustainability, and more. Visit NBAA.org to apply today.
We're back now with Maureen Cameron and Chris Strong, and our discussion about what attendees can expect at this year's NBAA-BACE in Orlando. So what other tips do you have for attendees ahead of the show, Chris?
I think a couple of other things that attendees should be thinking about one would be let your network know that you're coming. This is a massive show, and you're going to make a bunch of new friends, but you also want to let your current friends know that you're coming. And so we have opportunities, or you can do it yourself, for you to promote on LinkedIn or Facebook. Hey, I'm going to be at the show. I do that to almost every event I go to because I know that somebody's going to be in town that I'm not going to run into them in the hall. I want to see them if they're in town. And so we definitely think that you should do that. And the other, planning right now, find your right clothes. Shoes are key. Again, it's a humongous show. The folks that show up with brand new shoes or inappropriate shoes it can be a hard 2 days. Our attire there is business casual. It's an indoor-outdoor show. There's weather involved with the show sometimes, so make sure that you plan accordingly. If you're going to be outside, there's going to be weather.
And just piggybacking on what Chris just said, our exhibitors are busy preparing for the show now. They've been preparing for over a year now. But as an attendee, if you don't do some homework in advance, I think you do yourself a disservice, because I think spending some time looking at the exhibitor directory and the floor plan online so you can figure out who are the folks you want to see, who are the folks you have to see, and what events you would like to attend as well will be super important for you. We've got an exhibitor directory online in addition to the floor plan. And within that exhibitor directory, we have a buyer's guide. And that's a great way for you to do a search by a keyword. Maybe you want to look at fuel providers. Maybe you want to look at aircraft interiors. All of the exhibitors have self-selected their buyer's guide categories to make you be able to find them easier. And then also, Chris mentioned about the attending the aircraft display out at Orlando Executive Airport. Bring your sunglasses. It tends to be very bright out on the aircraft display.
What are some of the events you're looking most forward to, Chris?
Maureen mentioned Neil deGrasse Tyson, who is an astrophysicist, well-known. Same morning that he's going to be with us, we're also going to have FAA Interim Administrator Billy Nolan with us on stage, and then Dale Earnhardt Jr. That family is an amazing family. Their use of business aviation is well known, and he's a champion. He's a great interview. The following day on stage, we're going to have Tammy Joel Schultz, who is an aviator, most notably a military aviator, and also an aviator on an unfortunate accident with Southwest Airlines. She's going to walk us through that experience. We have an AAM panel, and then following that, we have a panel on the making of Top Gun. If you're looking for homework to do, folks, go watch Top Gun, because we're going to have one of the stars of Top Gun. Monica Barbero is going to be with us. She was Phoenix in the movie. We're going to have a stunt pilot from Top Gun, and we're going to have one of the videographers from Top Gun. It's going to be a hell of a morning.
So, Maureen, I've done my pre-show planning. I'm on the ground in Orlando, and I'm at the door of the Orange County Convention Center. What should be my game plan?
First of all, make sure you attend some of the education sessions. Our team, in conjunction with all of our committees at NBAA, have been putting together some really profound programming that will provide you with some of the education you need to help continue to grow your career, as well as some timely sessions that may well be on subjects that are based on what happened in the news yesterday or maybe even tomorrow. I mean, they're working real hard and keeping these very timely. The second thing is plan your exhibitors that you want to see. There are hundreds and hundreds of exhibitors on the exhibit floor who are waiting for you to stop by their booth to talk to them, to help start planning your orders for your business for the coming year, and then also to meet some people that you probably never even knew had products at our show. So those would be important folks to see as well. I would start planning with your friends and your colleagues what events are going to be happening in the evening, because we all know that many customer events happen every night after the show hall closes, and that will be really important for you to not only plan what you're doing during the day, but also in some of the evenings.
Chris, what else should attendees know as they participate in NBAA-BACE?
I think two things. Remember that this is a citywide event. And so while the show exists in the convention center, the show exists out at the aircraft display, the show exists in your hotel, the show exists in every restaurant you go to. So one of my favorite things when I go is to engage with folks I don't know. I'll talk to you on an elevator. I don't usually identify who I am. I usually just kind of an open question on how the show is. And for me personally, I get to make new friends that way. I also get to hear, some unfettered feedback about the show. When things are good, it makes my heart sing. When things are bumpy, I can help solve problems perhaps. But I think as an attendee, engage and know that everywhere you go, somebody, the person next to you is probably attending our event. The other thing that the industry is focused on, and you'll see running as a theme throughout the show, is sustainability within aviation. And so we have a number of educational courses on that. We have a lot of companies that are bringing technology associated with sustainability in aviation. We will have sustainable aviation fuel for the first time out at Orlando Executive Airport. But the attendees have a part to play in this as well. And on the NBAA website, there is a know before you go or think about being sustainable on site page for attendees. So take a look at that. And it's simple things. Just bring a reusable water bottle. It's think before you throw. Make sure it's easy for us to throw out trash in the wrong trash can, frankly. It's go green in your hotel room and items like that. We internally talk about aviation's responsibility to be sustainable in the air. Also, as we talk about the show, we want the show to be sustainable. So we're doing a lot of work in this space, and we hope that the attendees will take part in this effort.
Our exhibitors are also doing a lot to make sure that their show builds, their exhibit booths are sustainable as well. And they're taking pretty dramatic efforts within their booths to make sure that they contribute to the sustainability effort as well.
And as Chris mentioned, Maureen, you're always looking for comments and feedback from attendees during the show.
And in that same vein, the NBA team is going to be omnipresent at the show. There are going to be NBA people all over the exhibit floor in the education sessions. Stop us, talk to us. We want to hear from you. Come by the coffee social and all of the different events. We are always looking for ways to help people at the show and then also to improve the show. So we want to hear about the good, bad, but hopefully it's going to be way more good.
Pretty much everything you need to know about NBAA-BACE is available on the show's official website at nbaa.org/BACE. That's BACE. That includes the full show agenda, scheduled keynote speakers and events, hotel and lodging information, and the NBAA-BACE newsroom, which not only provides additional details about the events we've discussed today and other exciting show elements. Once BACE begins, the newsroom will also feature daily summaries of key BACE events, product introductions, and more. Again, the website is nbaa.org/BACE. You can also download the official NBAA-BACE app from there, or from the Apple Store or Google Store. And that's the latest from the National Business Aviation Association. Remember, you can subscribe to all Flight Plan episodes at Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts, including by asking your virtual assistant or connected device. Of course, you can also download Flight Plan directly from NBAA.org. I'm Rob Finfrock. Thanks for listening, and join us next time for a new episode of Flight Plan.